Today on Grow with Dr. Joe, we are making peanut butter cluster double chocolate brownies. This dessert has double chocolate in the brownie and a peanut butter cluster on the top. Make sure you watch all the way to the end for my SIS tip when I reveal the secret ingredient for this delicious peanut butter cluster. In addition, I have a surprising neuronutrition nugget. Yes, brownies may actually be good for your brain. We're going to start by making the brownie batter and baking the brownies. Before we make the brownie batter, we want to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 180 degrees Celsius, and then take a large mixing bowl, and to the bowl you're going to add 4 large eggs, 1.5 cups of cocoa powder, use Dutch processed cocoa powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of espresso powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Mix that together. Put your beater on the lowest speed as it will cause the cocoa powder to fly out of the bowl. And then in a separate medium-sized mixing bowl, add 2 1/4 cups of your white granulated sugar and 16 tablespoons of melted butter. Microwave that until it is hot in the microwave. Once it's about 110 degrees, the sugar will start to melt and have a nice shiny color to it. Add that mixture to your chocolate and beat it. The warm melted butter and sugar will then melt the cocoa mixture and it'll be a nice creamy consistency. Add your 1.5 cup flour and mix on low with your mixer. Add 2 cups of dark chocolate chips. This is your double chocolate. Mix that in by hand. And now it's ready to put in your baking pan. You're going to need a 9 by 13 inch baking pan. Put a parchment sling in the baking pan and spray it with nonstick spray. Add your brownie mix to the baking pan. Spread it out in the baking pan. Otherwise, mix it until well mixed. It'll be very, very thick at the point it's well mixed. Pop it in your 350 degree oven for about 28 to 32 minutes. You want the center to still be a little soft, but when you stick a fork or a toothpick into it, you want just a few crumbs to cling to it. You don't want the center to be liquid. Set that aside and let it cool completely. Now for today's neuronutrition nugget. We're going to talk about chocolate, specifically dark chocolate. The chocolate that's in this recipe, it has 2 types of dark chocolate, dark cocoa powder as well as semi-sweet dark chocolate chips. In studies that were done on young people, it was shown that chocolate, it has a substance that is high in flavonoids. The flavonoids in dark chocolate have been shown to increase blood flow to the brains of young individuals, which may explain why individuals who ate daily a small amount of dark chocolate had an improvement in brain function, increase in their attention, and also their memory. In a different study, elderly people who had at their baseline a mild decrease in their cognitive function, it was shown that flavonoids helped them maintain their cognitive function and may actually reduce the chance of that cognitive function going on to develop dementia. Now it's time to make the peanut butter frosting. To make the peanut butter frosting, you're going to beat 3/4 cup of softened butter until it's smooth. Then you're going to add your peanut butter to the butter and beat it in until it's nice and smooth. Add your vanilla next, 1 teaspoon. Beat in the vanilla. And now it's time to add your powdered sugar. I used about 2 cups of powdered sugar, Add it in 2 batches. Beat it in between each batch until you have the consistency of nice, fluffy, creamy frosting. You're going to go ahead and frost your brownie with the frosting, peanut butter frosting. Make sure though the brownie is nice and cooled. Otherwise you'll melt your frosting. Now it's time to make your peanut butter clusters. I usually go ahead and put the frosted brownies in the fridge while I make the peanut butter clusters, just to let that frosting firm up a little bit. Take a baking sheet, line it with aluminum foil, spray it with some nonstick spray. On top of that, you're going to add 2½ cups of crushed potato chips and 1/2 cup of salted peanuts. I use dry roasted salted peanuts. Sprinkle them on top of the potato chips and then cut up 8 ounces of dark chocolate. Use a good quality chocolate. Coarsely chop the chocolate with a knife and add it to a bowl. Add 1 teaspoon of Crisco and now begin to melt the chocolate in 30-second intervals in the microwave. Stir after each 30-second interval and continue to melt and stir until the chocolate is all melted. Once the chocolate's all melted, drizzle that chocolate over the peanuts and potato chips. Toss it all together until the peanuts and potato chips are all coated with the chocolate. Once they're all coated with the chocolate, go ahead, spread it out in a single layer and let it cool. Once it's cool, break it up into peanut potato chip clusters, and then you can add those clusters to the top of your brownies. For our SIS, Simple is Smart tip, for these peanut clusters, you are going to take a baking sheet and cover it with some foil, spray it with some nonstick spray. The secret ingredient is potato chips. Crumble up some potato chips, about a cup, and sprinkle that on your baking sheet. Actually, if you want some extra left over for snacking later, make it 2 cups of potato chips. On top of that, put your dry roasted peanuts and cover that with dark melted chocolate. Toss it together until all of the potato chips and the peanuts are all covered, and set it aside. Once the chocolate is hardened, break it up into clusters to sprinkle on top of your brownies or just snack. Sprinkle the clusters on top of the brownie. There's usually some left over, so enjoy any leftover clusters as a snack. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please click the like button and subscribe. To read the full recipe, go to growwithdrjoe.com, where you'll find this recipe as well as many other recipes that contain many fun and interesting facts about neuronutrition and brain health.